Number one.
What's going on, everybody? It's another episode of the Jew and the Brown Man. Kenny over here has got some Public Enemy going, man. What's up? You getting ready for the Pope here? You getting ready for the Pope?
I always play Public Enemy when the Pope's in town.
What's the rap line? What's the rap line for that they holler at the Pope?
Pope and hope it ain't dope.
There it is. There it is. There it is. And you know, in rap, they always call themselves the Pope. There's a rapper called A$AP Ferg now who calls himself the Hood Pope. He calls himself the Hood Pope. He's the Hood Pope, man. He's the Pope of the Hood, man. And meanwhile, you and I are popes of stocks, man. So let's get into this, man. What have you been doing lately? It's been a while since we got together. I know you've been fading this UVXY. I see finally the VIX has gotten a tighter range now, much tighter range down here. So it's like all that crazy kind of nonsense here is slowly getting worked out. UVX, I know, hit a high of freaking 90, man. $90, and it's all the way back down to about $48 right now. You been trading this thing at all?
When did we last speak? Because I had...
So we last spoke, I want to say like a clean month ago, right? And this was after UVX had started to rally. Right. But it didn't really squeeze people's faces off yet. Yeah. So it definitely wasn't at $70 or an 80 handle or nothing like that. So we spoke before the real mayhem started.
Right. We were talking, I think, that Tuesday, maybe around the 17th or 18th. And we were I remember we were saying, again, all the signs for a market sell-off was here. We weren't, right. You know, the ship just had to be turned. But we were talking about that AQXP, the $2 stock that went to 50, down to 12.
Yes.
When that nonsense goes on, usually means there's nothing left going on. And and then looking back, obviously, it all makes sense. Now, when you get these monster moves on the earnings reports, where are we going to go on Google, Netflix, and Amazon after those monster spikes on earnings? Where were we gonna go? Really?
Right. And now you could say the only haven here are those kind of names. I mean, clearly the only haven here has been some of the high beta names, the Googles of the world, the Netflix. Actually, not even the Netflix. That thing is looking real weak lately. The Amazon, and then you have those Wall Street darlings now, still like the AutoZone and things like that. And previously it was the biotechs, but couple of days ago here, we just saw a huge washout on IBB, man. What is Hillary Clinton up to, man? What is this woman up to? What did she say?
Once again, a great manipulation. I hope she made a ton of money because right before that news wire hit, the biotech started tanking. I just happened to luckily get into, I forgot which, Celgene. I think it was the Gilead Celgene trade. And they just moved over. They broke the VWAP. So I was like, hey, the biotechs are getting weak. Next thing you know, I had some other one, I forgot, something X. Went down 17 points. And I never traded the stock, and I don't like trading stocks I'm not a little familiar with. Next thing you know, it was the worst 80 cents I've ever made in my life. I think it was 12 or 17 points after I got out. So still the same story with me. I mean, I take a little bit of money, and then I cry about what could have been.
Right.
That kind of, again, man.
Yeah, they hit us up on Twitter. They just hit us up on Twitter. The last episode was August 19th, and that was a day before the real crash, before that crazy crash happened, and then the subsequent rally back. So that was right before the UVXY really got going over $50, $60, and all that.
Tragic story about that too. I mean, my style.
Talk to me, man. There are so many guys on Twitter. You remember that guy on Twitter that did so well off of your trade in the beginning, went for round two on this one, was down about 85 grand, I think, on the trade. And remember, he was shorting calls and everything, made it back. He held through all of it. Wow. I have to imagine he was down a little bit more than that. But luckily, I mean, this kid held through all of it. I'm thinking he got out break even for a little bit of profit, but I'm sure there was fucking horror stories, man, with a lot of this stuff, man. You got any? What happened?
Well, I mean, my style of trading normally is, I like to be the first in and first out of my trades. I play reversals and the VWAP, and when they break, I usually get that, on a $20 stock, thing goes up 18 cents and, in 90 seconds, I'm taking my $180 on the 1,000 shares and I move on. And it hasn't been such a bad idea to do that because the stock market, we just rally, then we fall, and then we fall some more, and then we rally back up. So playing, for the quick hit is where you want to be. But it's so weird and just ironic how when I have a day where nothing's going on, but I'll get a trade, and apparently I just become the savior of companies. Have you ever seen those videos I used to make? If you
Yes.
want to make your stock go up, I'll just buy one share, I'll quickly sell it for a profit or a loss, and next thing you know, it becomes the greatest company in the world, like SSYS yesterday. I mean, I don't know if I started this rumor or not, but I just happened to, I was trading GoPro and GMCR and even Alcoa, and just trying to pick some bottom fishes, because I don't want to buy anything that's still high up there. So I'll pick some of these ones that have bottomed. And I picked up on SSYS yesterday, and I'm not thinking anything. I'm making 20 cents on the trade. Next thing you know, it turns into a $2 rip. I mean,
yeah, but then back, I mean, if you take a look at the action today, I mean, they gave it all back. So we're seeing a lot of this type of action on beaten down dog names. And let's continue on that. Some of the biggest beaten down dog names in the stock universe right now are your beloved material names, aka United States Steel, aka your Alcoas of the world, all those coal names, anything that has to do with materials. It's just shit in the bed. Casinos look like absolute shit. And you know what else too? I will always see on rallies, on bounces with these names, I will always see long dated out of the money puts being bought as soon as any rally happens in any of these names. I mean, X was trading 21 last time we spoke, and now the fucking thing's trading back down to like $12.
11 change. I think it's
11. Yeah, whatever the hell this thing is.
By the way, guys, if you're at this point and you're still trying to pick a bottom, listen, I want to tell you something. I'm being serious now. I know we joke around a lot, but remember this phrase. I'd rather be late and right than early and wrong. You're not going to pick a bottom on U.S. Steel.
No doubt.
Guys out there dumping this thing. They know more than you. This thing could easily go to 1050. It doesn't hold 1050. We're talking about a 12-year low. It could go to $9. Why not? Just remember these three letters. WLT.
What the fuck is that? Oh, Walter, the coal name that just went to
it's down from 75. I got a lot of 50. Oh, now it's breaking 40. Maybe I should dump. Oh, now it's at 20. I got to load up here at 20. Oh, now it's at 17. Oh, it's not going to break 15. Oh, it can't break 10. Oh, 5, 4, 0. What's up? Yeah, it can happen.
And and that is straight from I swear we should just commentate for the stock market these days. Just put us out on CNBC now, man. So again, like just with Walter Energy, for example, you had the rare earth names that all went to zero. You had the dry bulk shippers.
You gotta
dry ships. All of that went to zero, and this United States Steel and a lot of these coal names are worth absolute shit. You guys saw that BTU pump the other day. Kenny, did you see that? There was a lot of news on it. BTU got pumped all the way up to maybe $3 from $1, and now it's right back to where it came from. So these are legit penny stocks now. These are legit penny stocks now, and there's no money going into these names. So again, just like Kenny said, be careful here buying the dips on some of these beat down names. At some point, yeah, fine, maybe it'll work here, but you can't call it. You can't call it like that. Right. And it's better to be late to the party here than trying to anticipate and trying to catch where that turn is coming. On another note, are you actually looking at United States Steel to dip buy this thing or that GoPro, and then let's roll into China after that? But are you looking at anything right now to dip buy anything that's beaten down that you think there's a rotation into?
I'm in 98% cash. I picked up 1,000 shares of Alcoa because I made it onto the Yahoo Finance page. Glick loves Alcoa. I was like, oh, look at me. They picked up a story. I was on the Benzinga show, and they wrote me up on Yahoo Finance. So I was like, I better put my money up where my mouth is. I bought some at 8. I bought some at 8.50, and then I wound up buying some more at 8. And it got to 10 pretty quick. I didn't know if we were ever going to get back to 10 the way that thing looked. So I sold half. I still got some Alcoa. And that's it. I even had a dump out of that SPCB. Those were my last two positions. I was trying to hang with Rig. But
Rig is another name. So the oil names, the oil drillers, I've seen a lot of activity here on both sides here trying to catch a bounce. But then as soon as you get that bounce, you get a lot of out of the money put buying, a couple months out here, and they just keep digging these things. They keep digging these things, and eventually you see new lows with these things. So clearly materials, oil, you guys saw the drop in USO today. That got pretty heavy as well. We get a huge reversal there in USO. Could be that oil takes us back down on the markets. I don't know. We'll see what happens here after this sector. But, dude, let's roll into something a little bit more off topic, and then we'll bring in China, man, because Kenny and I have a bone to pick here with some of these China names, which we have hated thus far. And Kenny has been right on a lot of this stuff, especially the Baba. So we'll talk about that in a second. First, let's talk about The Big Short, man. Let's talk about The Big Short. This is a Michael Lewis book that is finally out in the theaters or on December. And it's starring Brad Pitt. Everybody's in this fucking movie, man. Christian Bale, Brad Pitt. I don't know who the hell else is in this freaking movie, but everybody is in this movie. And I'm looking at the trailer, man, and it just looks like buzzword kill to me. It's like, oh, you know, these bad mortgages and all those buzzwords that we used to see in the news. It's just all in this thing, and you have the hottest actors, and I feel like this movie is going to be the worst fucking movie on the planet, man. I really feel like it's just going to be shit, and it's going to be another slap to Wall Street that we don't need right now.
Well, you could watch that other, you know, they had one on with, they portrayed the back end. It was on Netflix for a while. I forgot what it was, but they kind of did this movie already, but now they're showing the other guy on the other side who made money from the catastrophe. I don't know. After Wolf of Wall Street, who the hell cares about Wall Street movies anymore? I'll go see it anyway. Oh, wait, let me refrain. I'll stream it at home for free.
Exactly. But I think with this, you know, with the cast that they've selected and where they're trying to go with it, they're trying to do the positive spin. Like, again, like these guys that made money off of it, you guys were geniuses that made the money off it. It wasn't exactly the root of, so it's not exactly digging at the banks here. It's that other flip side, you know, who's making the actual money off this. So that maybe could go well, but I think that they picked such a great cast here. They're going for the pop audience here, and not for guys like you and me, man. We want the nitty gritty shit. You know what I mean?
I think it'll be all right. I mean, I'm definitely gonna watch it, but you know, here's a movie if you want to really have a fun time with. No one knows about this movie, and there's no reason you should. But there's a movie called Assault on Wall Street.
Oh wait! That dude from fucking the Fox show from Prison Break, right? The big guy.
Yeah.
Boom! I haven't seen it though. I just saw the previews for it, but I was like, this shit is a joke, man. Is it good?
It's not good, but you should watch it because so his broker, you know, gets him to buy dollar cost average, kept dollar cost averaging. Next thing you know, his broker says, "Oh yeah, by the way, your money's all gone. Sorry, thanks for playing." And you know, then his wife, I believe, gets cancer, and then all hell breaks loose. And he's like, "You know what? I'm gonna go take this upon myself and gonna go lay waste to a few people." He just gets a bunch of weapons, some AKs, and he just trains himself, and he goes starts taking out people, and it's just great.
So like John Travolta, Pelham 1, 2, 3, right? He got a bone to pick. He wants his money back, and he starts. What did he do? He hijacked the train, hijacked some hostages, and then bought gold or some shit. He bought call options in gold.
Right. It's worth watching. It's on Netflix. You can watch it for free. So yeah, Assault on Wall Street. I had to watch that movie.
All right, guys. Interact with us on Twitter. Let us know what you guys think of The Big Short. If it's going to be dope or if it's going to be a big flop. Let's talk China, man.
Before you even get started, we were talking about that UVXY, the nightmare that I had.
Yeah.
I was always touting selling these naked calls. You know, going out so far, just waiting for expiration. But then after that, we had that momentary pop from, you know, $30 up to 50 when we had our first Greece scare, and I saw how juiced those options really got on any move up by this thing.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Not only if I'm thinking about covering these things, why not even go long the next time this thing gets down there? So I went out and bought the January 95s this time. I think they were like $485, and this was, you know, going back about I guess August 1st. And I think I bought them at 6 and $485. Next thing you know, they were at $385. I'm like, oh, what have I done? And then the market starts rolling over. They go to 6, and they hit 8 one point. I put a stop on them, wound up getting out like $6.85, whatever it was. And then I think 6 days later, they were $80 each.
Yeah.
So
freaking dollars, man.
I mean, during the flash crash, I believe they printed $80. It was just, it was nuts. And that was a whole lot of fun. And if you guys are still confident in the market after watching a flash crash number 2 again, I mean, it's wonderful that the market keeps coming back. And I'll always remember the day when the Dow was down 1,000 points, and then it was only down 400, and we're feeling good. We're like, oh, it's only down 400. Oh, thank God. And that's how this market to me can just go poof and it'll be gone, like Die Hard when he takes down the whole system. I would not hold stock short or long right now in any way, right? I'm only just playing the like the reversals in the VWAP, and even that's becoming tedious because we're getting such chop that you're going from what looks like a good trade to a bad trade to a good trade. There's really no rhyme or reason. If you get stopped out, then it goes the other way. If you don't get stopped out, then it tanks. I mean, it's been tough. I mean, there's no bullshit about it.
Another thing Kenny is talking about right here. Another thing Kenny is talking about is the lack of liquidity during a lot of these periods, and this leads to the next topic after the China thing. But we might as well throw it in here. It's the severe overnight moves on the futures. And the ridiculous things that are happening overnight now. You're talking about 2 weeks here where we have consecutively gapped up or down 30 or 40 fucking handles. The ranges that we're seeing right now are that wide. That we're seeing that much action on the overnight session. And then during the day when we try to retrace those things, all of a sudden the liquidity disappears on the futures on everything. And you're seeing the same massive ranges here on a lot of freaking names. And that's scary. That is extremely scary. And it's been detrimental to a lot of traders out there. Talk to us on Twitter here. If you've been one of those guys or you've been able to take advantage of that kind of volatility. It's been a difficult environment. Like, yes, there's a lot of money on the table for those who can range trade that small liquidity and just kind of scalp in and out. But there's been a slew of other people who have taken directional positions because of that flash crash on the short side that have gotten fucking squeezed, man, and never paid out on their shorts. They missed that 3 days of insanity, which both Kenny and I missed as well. And then we knew, like him and I knew, because again, we played this game before. We know that there's no way we're gonna get the same kind of move. And those who have been playing for it, they've gotten smoked here over and over and over. So it's really tough to watch, especially for us, So there's been frustrating for a lot of people out there.
And the odd thing about the futures, let's just take last night
last night, yeah, we were down 20 handles last night, came all the way the fuck back. I woke up today, we were up 5 handles.
What happened? What I understand is what goes on at 8:15 and at 10 o'clock, because at 8:15, woof, is like there was no bids.
Yep.
We went sideways, and then 10:15, woof, down another 20 handles on the. I watched the NQ futures. I know you guys watch the ES and all that, but then I'm waking up. I'm like, oh, here we go again. I just sold my QQQ puts. I'm like, oh, I'm going to wake up. The Nasdaq's going to be down another 75. And I woke up, it's green. I'm like, wow, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And it really is, it's a time where either just chill out until things get better, or again, I can't stress enough that the only thing that's keeping me sane, and I don't know if that's even a good word, but the VWAP and the reversals, they're still cutting through all the nonsense. And if I only have one trade a day and it's a profitable one, I should think about just smashing my computer, because I'm tempted to sit here. I want to do something else.
Right.
I got guys in my room that are just sitting there and I'm teaching. I'm like, and people don't understand when I say the best trade right now is not to trade. They're like, what do you mean? Isn't there always something to do? I'm like, no.
Right. And then they look at these gaps. They look at these crazy gaps, say, shit, I should have been a part of it. Shit, I should have been a part of it. But again, anticipating and making the bet, a directional bet right now with these kinds of environments where you have these kind of gap moves every single day, it's a very difficult thing to do. And add on top of that, if you're trading options, guess what? If you're wrong, you're double fucked here, because there's no way you're going to get your premium back. You cannot get that shit back. You cannot get it back.
Bring that shit back.
So let's and by the way, we have a question here on Twitter about your VWAP stuff. So let's bring that back. But let's move right into China. Last night, actually, everybody was saying the futures dump here was because of the horrible Chinese PMI numbers. We are now seeing horrible price action on all of these Chinese names. And I remember our boy Kenny Glick saying from day one that Baba was the most useless piece of shit company on the planet, and here it is, unable to catch a bid, back at $60. I love it, man. I love it, man. I love it, man. I hate these names so much, these Cena names, the Yokus of the world. I hate these names. I really do. And we're now seeing them just bite the dust, man. Talk to us about China right now. What is happening?
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, this is why Donald Trump is leading in the polls. He's the only one that's actually saying a few things that make sense about China. We don't need him. If he was, I mean, he should just come out and say, fuck China. Because he's basically, that's what he wants to say. You can see it on his face, fuck China. Because the reason this guy's, even though he's an egotistical maniac who insults women, which I don't get, you don't, God.
You can't
insult women. What is a man? You don't insult women. Ever. No matter what. You take it. You suffer. Never insult the ladies. What's your end game there, fella? Look at her face. You want her as president? What is he, stupid?
Dude, yeah, and then he's killing this Megyn Kelly woman. So he just said he's not doing any correspondence now with Fox News, all because of this spat back and forth with this woman. And yeah, who did he say that about? Who did he say that about? Fiorina, man. I mean, that was just crazy. But anyway, so Donald Trump, again, he's speaking to a population that wants to hear this shit now. What else, man? What else?
Building walls and fucking China, because if he takes it another step, I mean, I'm actually thinking that I'm to the point where we've come to the realization that they're not our friends. Remember, they're communists, and they're not there to help us. I don't think we should have any investment dollars with them at all as a country, but more importantly about the stocks. How the hell can you trust them? Remember, it's a communist nation. These stocks are trading. If you don't believe in the stock market, the United States stock market, and we all believe it's manipulated, and obviously, right. How could you even think to want to own a stock that's based in China? Where are you going to start the class action suit? Which brings me to Alibaba. Yeah. Who's going to pay? Who's going to pay? You're obviously not going to sue Jack Ma. The dude's a cyborg anyway. He doesn't even really exist. He's been.
I still remember the first day that he was on. Remember the day where he rang the bell on CNBC? Like, all the smiles on everybody's faces, man. All the smiles, and then what was their day? Amazon has the Friday day, deals day. What was that day called again?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Day where that stock rallied to what? $120. $120, and now is worth half that at $60. Cannot even buy a freaking bid here.
Here's the thing.
What do you make of these? And then number one, are you even interested in a dip buy? Can we even talk about dip buying this stuff?
Yeah, I put it this way, and again, people are gonna hate me for this one. One day, you'll be able to buy a Fitbit watch, a GoPro camera, and Alibaba stock for $4 on Alibaba.
Absolutely.
They're going to be selling knockoffs of Fitbit and GoPro on Alibaba. I mean, here's the thing with the Alibaba. I mean, seriously. 3 years ago, I mean, I told the story 1,000 times. 3 years ago, I'm in the Apple store, and I need to get a cable, right? I need to get whatever the fuck this is, you know, my the mini DV to Firewire cable. And the little kid comes over to me, the genius, where he's like, oh, the cable's $30 here, but if you go to Alibaba, they have them for $3. I'm like, what the hell's Alibaba? He's like, you don't know Alibaba? He's like, no, I don't know. And he's like, well, yeah, it's a great site. You get all this, you know, you get counterfeit goods. You could get your wife a fake Gucci bag for $20. I'm like, well, I'll stop you right there. My wife could sniff out a fake Gucci bag a block away, but I understand what you're saying. I went to Alibaba. I bought the stupid cable for $3, cost $5 to ship, whatever it was. And that's all I knew from Alibaba. Then we're hearing, this is going to be the greatest IPO, the biggest IPO, the most powerful company in the face of the earth. And I was like, really? A counterfeit good wholesaler in China is going to be the United States #1 IPO and the biggest company in the world? Are you fucking kidding me? Next thing you know, all I hear is hype, hype, hype. And I'm like, oh man, I can't wait for this bubble to burst. And then finally when it did, you know, I wrote it down from 100 to 80. I thought maybe it would hang in the 80s for a while. I was wrong about that, but I've been pounding it lately. And it became a great trade on the upside the other day when it broke the VWAP and reversed, blah, 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 blah. But you don't want to own this stock. I mean, how could you? But more importantly, who's going to pay? You know, when Enron and WorldCom went under, and, you know, there's always these class action suits. The stock goes down 20%. There's 1,000. All you see on Yahoo Finance is all the class action suits. Who are you going to sue? So I suggest, if you guys are out there and you have lost money on Alibaba, why not get the names of the investment bankers that duped you, led you to believe that this was the next Google, Amazon combo, that led you to believe that everything was great. But asshole that I am, shithead little fucker that I am, in an Apple store, I knew Alibaba was selling counterfeit goods 3 years ago, and you're telling me the investment bankers didn't know? Come on. You've been robbed. Do something about it. Start a class action suit. Go out there and write a book. I don't got time. This is the biggest scam that's been put on American investors since Enron. Since Enron. And
Absolutely.
somebody should pay. Somebody needs to be carted away like Charlie Sheen at the end of Wall Street. That people need to be, or at least, you know what would be even benefit? I think this would be a great idea for analysts and investment bankers. If we could just go to their office and give them a big slap in the face. Thanks to the Alibaba. And there's a line out the guy's door. People lined up. Depending on how much money you lost on Alibaba, you get 2 or 3 good smacks in. Biff, you just biff the guy. I mean, shit, somebody needs to pay.
All right, holla on Twitter here. Holla on Twitter here if you love to see the Jew just hating on these names. I mean, I love to see it. I don't know about y'all. Hit us up on Twitter with any of your comments. Jack Ma also came out and publicly said he wished he never took the company public. He said many times, he was like, it was a dumb idea to take the company public here. He's got too many eyes on him and all this kind of shit. So moving over, though, let's talk about Baidu here. Let's talk about Baidu, which is an even technically bigger name, more influential. We have 1,000 put lot bought in December 130s, and that was for about $10. And if you take a look at this Baidu, like, she has never been able to get back over 150 after dumping through $200. It was such a great swing short. I think this thing is going down to $100 easy. And remember, this is a company that wanted to go with the self-driving cars, has the same sort of model or the same news as, you know, some of the biggest companies that we have in this country. Do you think there's a future here for Baidu even, or are we digging on all this shit?
Well, let's put Baidu in. Well, first of all, when I used to be Joe Baidu when we were coming out of the crash in 2009. And I was like, there's one Chinese stock. If there's one stock you want to buy, because the stock was down, from like $800 down to 100.
Yeah.
I was like, chances are it'll bounce 100 points. Do you realize the stock went up 1,900 points, split adjusted? It went from, more than that, actually. It went from 100 to 800, did a 10-for-1 split, and then went back to 250. So 220 or something. So basically the stock went from 100 to 2,200 in 5 years.
Right.
So a 50% haircut, it's about time, really.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the hell they do over there and against it. It's just a bullshit Chinese stock. Sure as hell, man. I would not be looking to buy dips until, just like any of these stocks. If, like Alibaba, I hate Alibaba, but 4 days ago, the shit, had bad news. Next thing you know, it's going green, breaking VWAP. I'm like, buying Alibaba. It's all about trading anyway. Oh, I think I lost you.
No. We're good. You back up?
Yep.
All right. So, back to your point, you just said something pretty interesting there about the split and resplit. Do you remember the agriculture names? Do you remember all the agriculture names like Potash, CF, and all those names? Potash was another one that split 3 times from, $200, $250, went back to 50, went back up to 200, split again, and did the same thing. And now finally, it's a piece of shit that you can't even buy a bid on here. So that's an interesting way to look at it. And honestly, that's exactly what is happening to this Baidu right now. Indeed.
I mean, I wouldn't be putting any money into any of these stocks. That I wouldn't own any stocks at all right now until, again, I want to just see something hold a bid. Like, again, go back to that U.S. Steel. Give me 1 day where it doesn't fade.
Right.
I mean, the other day I was like, wow, it's 2 o'clock and U.S. Steel's still up 20 cents. And by the end of the day, it was down 40 cents. I mean, these stocks suck, by the way. If you're looking at a macroeconomic picture, this market, I mean, if you don't believe the Fed and the U.S. government propped this market up, let's say 60% of the market has been propped up by the government. I'll be nice. I won't say 100%. But if you want to look at it as, well, the global recovery is the reason the market has gone up. Really? A global recovery without commodities and shipping and agriculture? What global recovery?
Right.
This market, again, I know it can be manipulated, and we might even go to new highs before we roll back over again.
Right.
I wouldn't commit any cash for you can't even commit, like you said. How do you stay long when you know you got a chance of the futures opening up tomorrow down 40 handles again?
Right, and the trade right now, by the way, and on top of what Kenny is saying, the real trade right now is fading after enough people have been pulled back in long. I mean, that's really the trade. The problem is it happens so quickly. I'll give you a perfect example. Like, just take a look at the SPY off the Fed minutes. Like, we didn't even talk about, the Fed news and them not raising interest rates, us spiking 20 handles. We hit 202 on the SPY. I don't even know where your Qs went. And then literally by the end of the day, we retraced most of that move. And the next day we opened down fucking 60 handles, man. Yeah. We opened down 60 fucking handles. So imagine if you missed that entry from the top and everybody was trying to short right there off the open, you're not making money. You're not going to make money like that. You have to come in and fade some of these crazy, crazy ass short squeeze highs. That's where you're really going to make some cash right now. If you want to day trade some shit, and you want to play stock, you want to play options here. If you come in late to the party, you're going to get fucking squeezed. That's the name of the game right now.
I mean, I thought they needed to raise interest rates, get it over with, and that would have made the market stay in a rally. We could be at new highs today. Just because we got it out of the way. The market would hate uncertainty more than a 25 basis rate cut, interest rate raise. And now that we're sitting here in limbo again, or apparently the government's going to shut down, we're going to have fiscal cliff again, right? And we're going to have to talk about interest rates every freaking month, October, November, December, if they're going to do it, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. It's going to be fun earnings season because this time around, I think now you're going to see the opposite of what we saw. You miss by a smidge, you get smoked. You're getting hammered. So.
You're getting fucking hammered, man. All right, so listen, Kenny, we have tons of questions here on Twitter, so let's roll through some of these, and then we'll call it a day here. We got CP at CPTTE Sipata. Do you feel we are currently in an uptrend or downtrend, and how do you define trend? So we got the new question coming out here. We are in a downtrend, and not to laugh here at the situation. We usually just don't take these kind of questions, but we are definitely in a downtrend. How do you define a trend? It really depends on your time frame, but I look at it as overall price action. If overall price action here is bearish on a bunch of names, and you get those fades from rallies and things like that, then your stock is in kind of a bear market. Like if you take a look at Baidu or Baba or any of these names, you'll see that kind of action. Twitter, X, United States Steel, all of these names here, they are in bearish environments here. Any comments there on that one?
Listen, whenever you keep seeing this market sell off rallies, that's, these are topping formations. And I don't know if I go to the point where a healthy market needs to retest lows of recent sell-offs. That's a pretty sick low. If we go back to test the flash crash low from that Monday, that's pretty nuts. But again, I got my levels. I'm set. I would not, again, I wouldn't commit money on the short or the long right now. I'm just trying to play the intraday moves.
Right.
And, just go back to cash at the end of the day. Obviously, you're going to gaps. But
yeah, that mean reversion trade is working well too. If we're a little bit oversold, just watch the momentum. Just watch the momentum shift here to one side or the other. You'll be able to trade some pretty dope ranges, especially on names that are somewhat a little bit more illiquid here. These things move like crazy. Like Amazon has a 10-point range every fucking day. The thing is absolutely nuts. So, and Apple and Facebook here, they move. Yesterday, Facebook opened up at like 94.5. And shot all the way down to 92. It's back up to 94 today, So there's plenty of ranges here. Difficult if you're going to stay biased, though. So if you're a trader who likes to trade direction and is going to stay biased here, this ain't the shit for you, man. All right, so we got another question here. They want to hear about your VWAP stuff, man. They want to hear about your VWAP stuff. So at Trading Sniper here, I'd love to hear Kenny discuss VWAP. It makes him horny, bro. The shit makes him horny, Kenny. Talk to him about VWAP.
Well, if you don't know what it is, I mean, it's the greatest. I've been using it now religiously for 3 years. I've always done my little own candlestick pattern recognition, just taking high lows and taking an average and looking for price levels until somebody told me, I got a programmer friend who works for Thinkorswim, and he's like, do you know VWAP? And I'm like, no, I don't know VWAP. He's like, I've been watching, he's one of these guys who was in my room, and he heard my levels, and he's like, your trading already lines up with VWAP. Why don't you just let the computer show you the line what you're already doing, so you don't have to do all that math and draw your own lines. And since I've been using VWAP, it's not a pure, a point where it's like, oh God, it's breaking VWAP, let me get in. There's 4 or 5 ways of looking at it. There's it really gives you an idea of where you should expect the stock to go and when you should more or less get the hell out. If you're shorting a stock and you're deciding when to cover, especially if it's going against you, you can't let it go back above your 1 minute VWAP, because chances are that's showing you an entire trend reversal of the stock. So it gives you good spots to get out. Sometimes, you get these moves where you'll get to VWAP. Let's say, for instance, today on the XIV, and I was playing the inverse UVXY, and I missed the spike. It breaks the 1 minute VWAP, goes up, a good 50 cents, but then it comes all the way back to the 1 minute. So if you had missed the trade, this is where now VWAP's giving you that risk reward trade. Oh, at least I'm buying it back here at the VWAP, so I know if it breaks back below it, I'll probably just punch out for a small loss instead of chasing it up 70 cents. Wait for it to come back to the VWAP. Now you've got almost a 10-cent risk instead of a 70-cent risk. And if it breaks the VWAP, I also have something called the multi-day VWAP. And like I said, this guy programs this stuff for me. He's got these codes. I can't even really get into it. I just know how to use it. I can't really tell you exactly how it works.
Right.
But volume weighted average price, why it works, and the dumbed down answer is, if you got a moving average and the stock's been traveling between 18 and 20, right? And you got all your ticks and blah, 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 and your 20-day, your 50-day, or whatever moving average you're watching, volume weighted average price is taking the volume. Isn't it more important to know that 500,000 shares of this 2 million day volume day went in at 27.20 opposed to all the other prices? That's why it becomes more significant. Also, because the market's running on a big algorithm, and the black boxes and the gray boxes and the silver boxes in your mom's box. A lot of these programs are based on VWAP. That's
the real crux of it right there. I mean, a lot of execution algorithms, a lot of larger players who need to buy chunks of shares or sell chunks of shares, they just have a little order execution algorithm that executes at the VWAP. Wherever the fucking VWAP is, that's where they want to play. That's where they want to play. That's where they want to do things. And because of that excess demand at that place or supply at that place, you get a movement away from VWAP or further through, things like that. So that's why, that's really why, to me, VWAP is a good indicator to watch if you're going to watch an indicator these days. For me, I think all technical analysis now is pure ass crack. It doesn't work to me. And you need a different understanding and a further clarification of how the stock market works if you really want to use a lot of this technical analysis mumbo jumbo out here, like your Fibonacci retracements and your Fibonacci here and your RSIs and all that bullshit. Me and the boys at Sang Lucci here, we don't use any of this shit. We use pure price action, and the only thing that we would ever use is VWAP.
Right. I mean, and it's something that needs to be seen in action also.
Definitely.
You can't read about it and learn it. And that's why when people take my courses, and it's hard to do stuff. As much as I want to teach people when the market's closed, it's best to be hanging out, because generally I'm only trading like from 9:45 to 11:30. And then I spend the rest of the day showing people the charts, showing them how to use the VWAP 3 or 4 different ways. But there's still the one trade, and I've been doing this for, it's crazy. Yeah, it's going to be I start trading, I guess, in 21. So my God, it's my whole life pretty much. It's been 20 years of me doing this.
I mean, ain't you like 52 now, bro?
Yeah, 43. Still got some more time to go. But one of the best trades, I guess the best trade is a reversal, meaning the stock is gapped up one direction or the other,
right,
on some catalyst. Usually it's a news story.
Right.
And it ignores the news, starts to gain strength. And when VWAP, one of my friends, he describes it as the stock is changing lanes. It's going in from the slow lane to the mid sped lane and to the high speed lane. So as it's gravitating, we also use these deviation bands. But again, I don't want to get into it too much. But when you see a VWAP